Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I certainly appreciate everyone being here tonight for this very important meeting. Of course, I am Robbie Davis, Chair of the Nash County Board of Commissioners, and the first thing I'd like to say is I'd like to thank the Red Oak Fire Department and Chief Bob Brown for allowing us to use the facilities here tonight. This is a very good room, maybe smaller than what we're used to. Uncut, but it's still adequate, and I was pleased that he was in agreement to let us use this. I thought we would be in the bay, quite frankly, which would have been a little warm. I didn't remember quite how large this room is, but I think it'll work fine. It is customary for us, Board of Commissioners, to begin each one of our meetings with a prayer by a sitting commissioner. And during this time, you're welcome to stand and join us in the prayer. You're welcome to use this time for your own prayer if you like, or you're welcome to use it for a moment of silence, whichever suits you best. And we also like to do a pledge of allegiance to the flag as well. So if I could, I'd like to call on Commissioner Marvin Arrington to lead us in the invocation tonight, and then Commissioner Wayne Outlaw to lead us in the pledge. Thank you.
Good evening to everyone, and I hope and pray that everyone's doing well. Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, we come here this evening to say thank you. Thank you for the many blessings that you have bestowed upon Nash County and its citizens. We pray that you will continue to guide us as we make decisions as governing bodies for our citizens. We pray that you will continue to guide our educators in the right direction, that they will continue to prepare our young people for the task ahead. We hope that everything that we do will be to help our citizens achieve their future dreams. We ask all of these blessings in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Would you face the flag and join us in the pledge? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I'd like to call the Nash County Board of Commissioners recess meeting from yesterday back to order, and I'd like to turn it at this time also, after doing that, to the school board chair, Mr. Bill Sharp.
First of all, let me say good evening. It is a pleasure and an honor to be in this presence with our colleagues. I too like the venue. I think it's close fellowship. So the closer we're together, the better we can relate and communicate. So I first of all like to call the Nash County Public School Board of Education to order. Madam Board Clerk, roll call, please.
Here.
Here. With that, we're in session. Turn it back over to you, Mr.
Thank you,
Davis.
sir. Item 4 on the agenda is the budget presentation by our community college, Nash Community College, who has one of the best campuses in the state of North Carolina, we all think, and I'll turn it over to you, Mr. Uncut.
I agree with that wholeheartedly, what you just said, but my grandmother always told me it's best to go first, because two things: you set the stage, and typically you get more than you ask for. So if you want to change Dr. Ellis's budget at all, then throw some my way. I'll share it back with him, I promise. Just getting that out of the way. I'll tell you, it's probably dangerous for all of y'all in here how well he and I get along. that may be a danger, but I'm here with, of course, the person that really runs the college, the CFO, Adrian Covington, and we just want to run through some updates for y'all, and then Adrian will go through the budget with you, and then, of course, we'll address any questions or concerns. So let's just get started here. So first things first, we could not do what we do. Dr. Ellis and I both are in a profession that we get to change lives every day. It's the best job. Each of our jobs is the best job on the planet, but we could not do it without funding partners and just partners like y'all. So thank you so much for that, for your continued support. But then another thank you for your most recent show of support, which we are certainly thrilled about, And that is there a pointer on here? Okay, oops. Nope, the red, right? Did I turn it off? I turned it off. Never let the president handle technology. There we go. The 14.143 acres that is coming to the college from the county, we are so deeply appreciative of. And some of y'all have probably heard it called the CDL range. Well, it's much more than that. So we are calling it the NCC Driver Training Center, and it's going to benefit so many more people than just commercial truck drivers. And one of the reasons we're so excited to get it, we have been searching around the county every possible property to do our driver training on. Every time we find a DMV approved site, the building sells, which means the economy's good, and that's a great thing, but it was bad for our driving program. Currently, we've entered into a agreement with Edgecombe Community College to use a property in Edgecombe until our facility's built. So we've got a short-term fix and we've got a long-term fix. But if you look up there, commercial truck driving is a big part of what it will be. But our basic law enforcement training, our BLET or our BLET program, fire academy, electric line, emergency medical services, motorcycle training, and then we fully expect to be a regional hub for first responder continuing education. We already are in so many areas. We think this will only continue to do that. So again, thank you so much for your forward thinking and helping us make this happen. We don't know exactly the timing, but we're looking at late spring next year. We think we could be done. So we're pretty excited about that. So just to give you a little campus overview, I am fortunate. I came here 2.5 years ago. Fortunate on a lot of reasons, but I inherited from Bill Carver an incredible college and an incredible team. And you notice I say team, I don't say staff, because they're not staff to me. They are team members, and I'm honored to be the person that leads them. But we are also, in addition to being Team Nash, we are literally Nash County's community college, and we don't take that lightly. We have very deep concerns and very deep roots in the county, and we always will. So we are Nash County's community college. Just to give you some pre-COVID numbers, some of y'all have seen this before. Gwen, you saw this the other day. You're going to have to bear with me again, but just to show you some of these. Pre-COVID, now we haven't counted numbers during COVID because, among other things, Brown Auditorium had to close for a while. We will get back to the counts, but pre-COVID to serve almost 80,000 people a year is pretty impressive. In Brown Auditorium alone, 29,000 people. And what I'm finding is a lot of people have been to Brown Auditorium a lot, but they've never been anywhere else on campus. So I enjoy introducing people to the rest of campus because everyone's amazed. Because it is, Chairman, as you said, one of the most beautiful campuses, I'm going to say in the United States, but certainly in the state of North Carolina. So a lot of people being served. To give you a little funding breakdown, we had the Belk Foundation paid for an MZ report, which is Economic Modeling Systems International. They do this all over the world, to figure out the economic impact of each of the 58 colleges and the combined total in the state. The economic impact. The combined total in the state is over $19 billion a year, which is that's a great number to take back to the General Assembly. Our individual one's pretty darn impressive too. So when you look at what they came up with for us, they say that we have an $86 million impact on this county every year. That's impressive. And where that breaks down to is about $22 million in direct spending and direct impact. But then the rest of it is kind of the intrinsic things, the $64 million because we've been here since 1967. The alumni impact, the services impact, the social impact, all those things. But when you look at that, that's a pretty darn good return on investment, as we'll talk about momentarily. Because I always look at return on investment on anything I'm going to try to do. So the return on investment is impressive as well. For county dollars, it's a 30-to-1 return on investment. I make the joke all the time, if my retirement account did that, I wouldn't be standing here today. I'd have been retired a long time ago. But even on the state level, so as important as that is to the county, on the state level, it's a 3-to-1 return. That's impressive on the state level. So the good news is we don't cost anybody to do what we do. We actually return, and that's a great thing. But the next statement is the one I'm most proud of, and it's the one I keep in the back of my mind all the time. 1 in 38 jobs in this county has been touched by the college. That, folks, is impressive. Some even of our larger sister colleges in the system can't say that. It's not 1 in 38, it's 1 in 60 or 70. We're 1 in 38. We're very, very proud of that. So, programs, how do we do that? How do we serve all these people? Well, we do more than you probably think. We have 50 degrees currently, we have around 19 diplomas, and we have 83 full certificates. But that's the small part of what we do. But those three together, we funnel into the region, into the county, anywhere from 650 to 700 new completers every year. And we're very proud of that. But when you add our short-term training programs to the mix, which we don't get funded for most of the time from the state, they're self-supporting programs, a lot of training in industry, we throw that number into the thousands of people that we train and put back in the workforce or help get a better job or train to do their job better. When you put that kind of in the context of what we do, we have three basic areas of study. We have what everyone knows as curriculum. That includes college transfer and career and technical education. Then we have continuing education. And then we have basic skills, adult basic ed, high school equivalency, if you will. So those are our three areas. When you combine those all together, now I will tell you, the state looks at us and says, you have 2,700 FTE, full-time equivalent. They rank everybody on the equivalent of how many hours they take equally among, if everybody was taking the same hours. They say we have 2,700. We just went over 14,000 people served this year, students, and our year's not over yet. This is a pre-COVID number for us. We had barely topped 14,000 in 18-19. So we're very proud of who we're serving and what we're doing. Again, I talk to the General Assembly, our General Assembly members a lot, and I tell them these numbers. We need credit for some more of these numbers. We need to get funding for those and things would be better. But again, a large number being served, and we're very proud of that. This state does something incredible, better than most states I've worked in, probably better than all states I've worked in. We are the most incredibly affordable educational place on the planet, it seems like. You can finish your full first 2 years here for less than $6,000. It's actually closer to $5,000, but I rounded up because $5,000 doesn't even sound real. When you consider that one of the larger four-year universities, it's going to be maybe $10,000 to $20,000 to $30,000 to $40,000 for the first year, much less the other 3 years. So that's great, but not everybody needs a 2-year degree. Not everybody needs a 4-year degree. Not everybody. My dad said I have more degrees than a thermometer, but I had to get him to do what I wanted to do. Not everyone needs to go to school forever. So this is what we do that's the most expensive, but we have a whole lot of other options. We have what we call career in a year, career in 1 year. We have career in 6 months, career in 8 weeks, career in 36 hours. It's called Basic Skills. You come to our Basic Skills course, it's going to teach the soft skills that all of us don't think we should have to teach, but we have to now. But that's going to help you get a leg up to get employment. 36 hours, and it's very inexpensive to do that. So not everybody has to go forever, but we want to offer something for everybody. Looking at our enrollment numbers, if you looked at the first year of COVID, we were only 7 other colleges had higher loss than we did. We were around 11% down in enrollment. And 2 of my board members that are here had to be concerned about that, as we were, but everybody understood why. But what I did after that, I made a charge to my team of July of last year. I said, here's the thing, we're around 11% down. Let's get 5% back this year. Let's get 5+% back next year, and COVID never existed here for us. We're good to go. Well, I'm so proud to tell you that they didn't just get us 5% back. They didn't just meet my charge. Their answer, we're at 6% ahead this year, which means if we get another 6% next year, then we're ahead of pre-COVID numbers. We see every indication that that is going to happen. So I'm very, very proud of where we've come from and how we've come through the pandemic so far. So our future messaging. There is a disconnect that exists between students, parents, and colleges. We've been saying it for 50 years, and we should have never said it, but we have. You got to get a 4-year degree. You got to get a 4-year degree. We have beaten that into school systems, to counselors, to students, to parents. It's not true. We have a 16-week lineman program, line construction program, 100% employment on the last day of 16 weeks, 1 semester, very little debt. They're making all a living wage and more at the average of about $50,000 plus. In the first year, 2 students have come back in their 3rd year and set up scholarships because they made over $100,000. Now they work all the time, and not everybody can climb a pole, but if you can, that's a good option. But there's a disconnect with parents and students that A four-year degree is better. Everyone needs to get that degree under their belt. Here's our messaging that's going to change. Skilled trades are okay. Skilled trades aren't dirty. I can't tell you the number of parents who say, oh, I don't want them to go into advanced manufacturing. It's too dirty. We take them in our advanced manufacturing building. It is so much cleaner than my house. And I just moved in my house. It's pretty clean. But it is amazing what people's perception is versus what's out there. They think of garage mechanics. We all used to get greasy and dirty and do all that. That's not what Cummins does. That's not what Pfizer does. Things like that. Skilled trades are lucrative. Try to find a skilled tradesman right now. You're going to probably pay a premium to get them to come to your house. Skilled trades mean less debt. Average four-year degree college debt in this state, $42,000. Average starting salary, $34,000. We're setting four-year degree people up to never get their loan paid off. Let's not do that. They're lucrative. They are needed in Nash County, less debt, and they are most of what we do. A lot of people hear the word college and think we only do degrees. We only send you on somewhere else. That is not the case. So here's our take on what we're going to start. We're changing our narrative. There is an adult learner crisis in America right now. And by adult learner, I mean what the Belk Center, or what the My Future NC folks are looking at, the 25 to 44-year-old. We're not talking 16 years old to 24. We're talking 25 to 44-year-old population. The latest Carolina demography data that My Future NC used was from 2018, so it's a little old, but it still stands the test of time. What I'm a little concerned at this one, some college no degree, over about 21,000 people. But again, if you've been working at Pfizer for 20 years, you don't need a degree. But in some of that range of age, there's going to be some kids or some people that need us. This one concerns me a little more, 31,458 people with a high school diploma only. Again, if you're at the higher range of that age range, you may have been working for 20 years and it's not a big deal. But if you're at the lower range, the lower age range, that's going to limit what you can do. Here's the one that concerns me the most. 10% of the folks in this county that are 25 to 44 have less than a high school diploma. That is the most low-hanging fruit we could ever see, because that is who we're going to target and say, no, you don't have to worry about a four-year degree. You may want one. We can do an engineering degree, but we can also do a 36-hour thing and a 6-month and all those kind of things that fit. So I told the team when we talked about this, I said, here's the thing. We're going to do this anyway, but when you add those three blue areas up, that's almost 62,000 people in this county, 2/3 of the county. If our return on effort was only 5% and we're way better than that, that would be about 3,100 new students for Nash. That's our growth potential. That's who we've got to address, but we've got to make the messaging correct. And the message is, we have what you need. Come let us show you. So with that said, I'm going to turn it over to the smart person in our duo tonight and let Adrian Covington come and talk to you all about the budget and other things. And then we'll be glad to answer questions.
Good evening.
Good evening.
All right, to start us off, I just wanted to walk you through a few of the projects that we've been working on campus this current year. The first here is a project we're nearing completion on with Sound Rivers. They're a nonprofit organization out of Little Washington, and we're doing some campus stormwater improvements that are funded through the NC Attorney General's Environmental Enhancement Grant and the Cannon Foundation. And these photos show the before and after of some a rain garden that we have installed, and there are actually two on campus, one that is in front of the B&I here, and also one that is near the early college building. And the purpose of these rain gardens is to trap rainwater runoff from the campus throughway to slow the water entry into the ground, into the streams, and so forth. Also part of this grant, there are now 4 rainwater collection cisterns on campus that's collecting the rainwater coming off of the roof lines that we'll be using for watering the lawns and the grounds on campus. And another improvement that I don't have a picture of was a dry swell on the backside of campus that runs alongside that back roadway. Some improvements there to help erosion and runoff. We also installed campus wayfinding signage this year, and we installed 12 signs that will help our visitors and students navigate areas around campus. Other projects that we've been working on this year that were funded by the county this year, a roof replacement project on building D1, and that project is slated to start right after graduation, so replacing that roof. And also our boiler replacement for building B, and that boiler actually services building A and B. That is complete. And we also purchased a used John Deere tractor to use on campus. And then we've had another project to upgrade our HVAC control systems in the Business and Industry Center, Science and Technology Building, and our CDC, and that is being funded through our CARES Act, Federal CARES Act, and HER funds. So we're in the middle of that project right now. All right. So for this year, upcoming year and budget request, this is our current county budget in comparison to what our request is. So you'll see in our operating ask, we're asking for a 6% increase. We're actually having a decrease in capital, and I'll get to more of the details in a minute on that. And expansion, a request for an additional position. So total increase budget of 2% overall. So the major changes in our budget is we're asking for a 2.5% increase for our county paid employees, and that'll match the same pay increase that our state funded employees will be getting. Legislative approved 2.5 for this year and 2.5% increase for this upcoming year. So to match that of our state paid employees, 2.5% increase. Our fringe benefits will also be increasing. We're seeing a retirement rate increase from 22.89%, and it's going up to 24.19%. Medical insurance premiums also on the rise, going up a little over $200 for those premiums we pay for our employees. And then the next larger request through the budget is on the contracted services line item on your detail. But we have been asked to increase the hourly rate that we pay our deputies that provide security on campus from $25 an hour to $30 an hour. And that $30 an hour rate matches what the deputies get at the other business and organizations that they provide security for. The next ask is for an additional position for a full-time maintenance position, and that total funding request is just over $65,000, and that includes salary and fringes. And we currently have 4 full-time maintenance personnel on campus, and also our director of facilities, but 4 maintenance personnel that are doing a lot of work on campus. We average about 150 maintenance work orders a month, and that's on top of the regular preventive maintenance and all that type of work that they're working on. And then in capital request, the building maintenance line item, we typically ask for $225,000 just for general routine type maintenance, carpet replacement, VCT replacements, those types of things, and any smaller type projects that come up. And then we'll normally itemize any larger projects that we might have, like this past year with the roofing projects and so forth. This year, we really don't have a lot of large projects that we need to do. I think we've replaced all the roofs, we replaced all the chillers, so it's just more smaller projects that we have for this year. So I did increase that building maintenance from $225,000 to $250,000, just to include those smaller type projects like hot water replacements and so forth. And then in the equipment request, we're asking for a 2-person lift. We do have a 1-person lift, but it's always good to have a 3rd and 4th hand when you're working on something. And also $10,000 for miscellaneous maintenance and lawn equipment replacements. So again, this year, a little more smaller projects than normal, so no real large. So really the other items in the budget package, it's minimal changes, some decreases, some minimal increases, but those are the major highlights of the changes for this year's budget. So again, that's the same kind of summary that I started out with, but overall a 2% increase for the ask. Okay. All right. Thank you. Any questions that I can answer?
Can you provide us with your presentation?
Sure will. And you also have the budget package as
I've
well.
got the budget, but I would like to have the
Sure will.
presentation. It's got a little more detail. Thank you.
Budget dropping for about $200,000. So it sounds like to me that you've caught up on maintenance
That's correct.
and you don't need as much.
That's right. Over the past 4 or so years, we've done a lot of roof replacements and chiller replacements, the big ticket items using Connect NC bond funds and also county budget. So we're in good shape on those larger projects.
What is your student capacity here at National Community College?
It's a really great question.
It is a great question.
I was just thinking about it. I know you're working on increasing, and I was just wondering what is your student capacity? Do you have adequate facilities, say for a 10% or 12% or 15% increase?
Absolutely.
Yes, I would say so.
I would say
Yes.
that if we had upwards 40 to 50%, we've
40
got,
or 50?
Yes,
we've got great.
right, with
Well, I
appropriate
mean, you got-
scheduling,
you
class
got
scheduling,
plenty
and so
of room
forth.
then.
We've got room to grow.
Yes.
Then I'll come back and say any more.
All right.
Other commissioners have questions? Adrian, I took note of your insurance increase costs. Y'all, I'm sure, are under the state health plan.
Yes.
And it appears to me, if I remember our numbers correctly, y'all's increase is considerably less than ours. For some reason, does it get grouped by community college and then, you don't really know?
Yeah, it should be the same, but I'll double check that.
Donna, did I remember that right? Is that $200 increase not considerably less than ours?
I know we had a 24% increase. So I don't know if I looked at it like that, but
24% would be more than $200. So. Just something I took note of.
I will check into that, though.
It appears, I mean, it looks like a very reasonable budget to be. And we are not overlooking any capital needs or maintenance needs because you got a great campus out there, and I'm speaking on the wrong side of the equation when I say this, but we certainly want to maintain it and keep it as it is.
Right. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Don't hold me to that next year, though.
I sometimes say too much. Sure, no more questions? Yes, sir, Mr. Belfield.
In connection with your capital building, do you do a 5-year plan, 2-year plan, 3-year plan to
We do.
project what
We certainly do.
capital funding you would need?
We certainly do. And we're a number of years out on those larger projects, like I was saying, the roof and the chillers and boilers and so forth.
What are you looking at in the future? You mind revealing that, say within the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years, I really don't see any big ticket items on the list because, like I said, in the last 4 to 5 years, we've replaced all the chillers, all the roofs, and so it's just minor type heat pumps and that type thing over the next 5 years. I'd say probably the 10 to 15 year mark, maybe when we start seeing some of those needed replacements coming back for those ticket items. But I do have that schedule, and I can share that.
Well,
This campus has really grown since I've been a commissioner. I mean, a lot of buildings do made tremendous improvement.
well, we need to recall that the last state bond issue, the money that the college got for that, they used quite a bit of it for maintenance type issues that really caught them up. There was a long list of things they accomplished with their bond money that the community college and the board of commissioners worked together on it. And I think y'all did a great job utilizing a lot of that funding for maintenance type issues, which has got us to the place we are today. It's really showing up this year for the first time, quite frankly, how much you have. Your parking lots themselves, in all of them pretty good shape?
They are. There's a smaller one back behind the early college that we are going to look at resurfacing this year, but all the rest of them we have touched over the last probably 3 to 4 years.
Great. Other questions?
Did you receive any COVID relief funds to help the strain on this year's budget?
We did receive COVID funds, and you know, there were the CARES Act, HER funds, and so forth, and we've used those for a variety of purposes. For student relief, we have discharged student debt to re-engage those students to come back to school. The project that I mentioned earlier about the HVAC controls and so forth, we're doing that with that federal COVID funding, so yes, we have.
Lots of technology.
Yeah. Yes.
So it's been wonderful.
Anything else, Dr. Honeycutt?
No, we just appreciate, again, y'all's continued support, and thank you for having us this evening. Thanks for feeding us Chick-fil-A.
That's easy.
Thank you.
All right, well, we certainly appreciate it. We'll take a very short break, and if y'all wish to stay, certainly feel free to do so. And when I say short break, does anybody really want to take a break, or you want to keep moving, suit everybody? All right, well, we'll do that then. Item 8 on the agenda is, at our meeting yesterday, we discussed an item that Commissioner Outlaw brought up, which was a resolution knowing that this week was about teachers, and actually today, the prime day, I think, and just because of the timing, we felt like it would be an excellent time to let our teachers know how our board of commissioners feel about them. And guess Mr. Outlaw's going to step out a minute, but with that said, if it's okay with you, I will ask you to read the resolution that we have have not adopted yet because it wasn't written. We had the idea yesterday, but we needed it written, and of course staff had prepared that. And Ms. Manager, if you don't mind reading it for me, I'd greatly appreciate it.
I'll be glad to. Good evening, everyone. This is a Nash County resolution to express sincere gratitude to all teachers who enthusiastically dedicate themselves to the future and well-being of our students, to recognize Teacher Appreciation Week, and to encourage citizens in Nash County to honor the numerous vital contributions of our outstanding teachers. Whereas the success of our children and communities and the prosperity of our county are significantly influenced by the exemplary teachers throughout Nash County Public School System who dedicate their talents and minds to helping ensure that our schools and our young people excel. And whereas the knowledge, support, and skills our teachers provide students will positively impact generations for years to come. And whereas Nash County teachers challenge students to meet academic standards while also teaching them to apply what they learn, utilizing critical thinking and problem solving. And whereas our complex and rapidly changing world, teachers lay the foundation for success by aiding in the development of the students' creative thinking, collaboration, and communication skills. And whereas teachers dedicate countless hours preparing lessons, evaluating progress, counseling, and coaching students to ensure their academic, social, and emotional well-being. And whereas striving to instill within their students a lifelong love of learning. Teachers encourage their students to achieve their goals while recognizing that each student has unique strengths and needs. And whereas our community recognizes and supports its teachers in educating the children of this community, now therefore be it resolved that the Nash County Board of Commissioners acknowledges May 2nd through 6th, 2022 as Teacher Appreciation Week and Tuesday, May 3rd, 2022 as Teacher Appreciation Day, and expresses sincere thanks for the work done by teachers. And be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be shared with every teacher within the Nash County school system, adopted this 3rd day of May 2022. We'll make that correction.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that. I'd entertain a motion to adopt that resolution at this time. That's hard for me to decipher who made that motion. I think I heard Mr. Outlaw first, and I will have him as the motion, and a second. Who else spoke at that time? Second, Mr. Belfield. Any questions on that motion? I'm sure we all made the motion, quite frankly, at the same time, but all in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed by a like sign? Motion carries, and I certainly appreciate it. Another comment?
We will get a signed resolution sent over to the school system tomorrow, and a corrected signed resolution to them tomorrow. And if you all would help distribute that for us.
Certainly appreciate that. And I do want to apologize to our new county manager. I realize that this was the first joint meeting she had been to, and I would like to officially introduce Stacy Satzler, our new county manager. It doesn't seem new to most of us because she has been with us and been our assistant for many years, but she did change offices, so she moved to the back corner, and we are very pleased to have her on board as our new manager. We very much like to promote within whenever we can, whatever position we have at the county, and congratulations on that. And I'd like to turn it back over to you since you have an announcement you can make that took place today at the same time.
Okay, well, thank you. Yes, so we were able to announce today that we have named a new assistant county manager. Scott Rogers actually started serving as interim April 1st, and as of May 15th will be our new assistant county manager. And Scott is in the room with us today, so thank you, Scott.
I'm sure most of them knew Scott. And I apologize again for not doing that up front. I feel like you've been here, and I just don't think of it sometimes. Okay, appreciate that. All right, we'll move now to item number 9, which is the budget presentation for Nash County Board of Education. And Mr. Sharp, I'll turn it over to you to proceed how you see fit, sir.
Okay, so let me just reiterate what we said at the beginning. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys and ladies. We have Dr. Ellis and his team has worked diligently during the past this year. They surpassed a lot of expectations. They continue to work and strive to make sure that our kids have the best possible education that money will afford us. How they manage the budget and what they've been doing with the funding that we have has been outstanding. So I'm going to ask Dr. Ellis. He's been with us now for a while. He's a part of the original family. So Dr. Ellis, you would go and present to us something, please.
I better go through that. Wrap around that. Don't fit. I'm not leaving. Hey, Mr. Davis.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
First, I just want to thank you for this. At a time where it seems like educators are being hit several different directions, it's great that the county supports teachers, so I will be gladly to share this and post it because this is special, so thank you. Once again, good evening. I'm Steve Ellis, Superintendent, Nash County Public Schools. And just first want to thank you, like Dr. Honeycutt said, for your support. It has been a tough 2 years. I think we're finally getting out of COVID. But with your support during this time, it's been a whole lot easier for me and my team. And speaking of my team, I would like my team to stand up just at least so everyone in the room can see you. Stand up, please. I'm not going to let you just sit in the back. So, team, thank you for being here tonight, and I appreciate everything you do. So I'm going to give you a hand clap. Because I always say this is not my budget. These are the students of Nash County Public Schools, and with this team I have, they do a great job. So thank you. So tonight what we're going to do is you have copies of the presentation, but you also have like a summary of some of the numbers that we put in that you have tonight. And what we're going to do is we're going to go over a 2021-22 review of what we have done this year. We're then going to talk about the budget. We're going to then talk about challenges that we are going to be facing next year, and then we're going to give a request. So, and I'm assuming at the end we'll just, if you have any questions, we'll entertain those questions. So at this time, Shannon Davis, Facilities, if you can come here and speak to completed projects.
Okay, good evening. We'll go over a few projects that we've completed. It's not all of the projects we've completed. It's just kind of a highlight of some of the major things we've completed this past year. First of all, you'll see Winston Avenue. We started several years ago with our high schools, replacing gym bleachers, refinishing the floors. We dropped down to the middle schools, started replacing all those bleachers and refinishing the floors. Now we're working on some of our elementary schools. This is replacing the carpet in a multi-purpose room with a seamless polyurethane floor system. We've started doing this instead of carpet. It doesn't stain as easy when you're using sheet carpet. You know, after 3 or 4 or 5 years, you start getting soiled, and this here is a much better flooring system that's cleanable and is a much more efficient means. We're working through our elementary multi-purpose rooms at this time. We did Winston Avenue this past year. If you look here, we also did Willowford Elementary School. We can add mascots in the center of the floor, add colors and things of that nature. This here's Nashville Elementary School. This is next to Red Oak Elementary. This was the last elementary school that we replaced bleachers. You can also see in the background the window replacement. We also have started replacing all those windows because we're adding air conditioning and HVAC to a lot of these older gymnasiums. This here Spring Hope Elementary School, you can see the roof replacement. We also replaced the windows with Carwall windows. We're doing this also in many of our multi-purpose rooms. They were replaced in the last fiscal year. We also purchased 2 maintenance vehicles and 2 trim mowers, which we're trying to do every year to keep from taxing all of our revenues in multiple years. Northern Nash School will replace new LED lights. You probably know in the last several years we've been talking about Southern Nash High School. We've been walking through that campus. We've now moved to Northern Nash, replacing lights, ceilings with suspended ceilings. We're also starting to work on the mechanical. We're working through that school as well, doing a lot of that stuff in-house with my team. Nash Central High School, of course, you know, it's one of our newer high schools other than Rocky Mount High, but it's 20 years old. We've started roof replacement there. We're walking through that campus. This past year, we did gymnasium, field house, and media center. This coming up fiscal year, we're going to hopefully complete that campus with a single membrane roof. Southern Nash High School, we also replaced the roof on the gymnasium, In Fairview Elementary School, you can see this was the phase 2. We completed phase 1 last year. This is phase 2 shingle replacement. Again, that building is 97, 22, 23 years old as well. This here's some of our overlaying of parking lots. This first picture here's Hubbard Elementary School. We've started overlaid the staff parking lot in that campus. Picture over here is the staff parking lot between D.S. Johnson and Fairview Elementary School. That was also completed this past year. This is some of the projects that we're currently working on. Of course, you know Red Oak Elementary School sitting right here behind us. We broke ground on it this past year. This is just a rendering of the campus. We're very happy to be able to hopefully move in this December with the Red Oak Elementary staff and kids, hopefully this December, and moving the Swift Creek Cedar Grove kids in the following June or the following August. We'll move them over the summer. This is a picture taken 2 weeks ago now, this Friday. We're still on schedule. We may have slipped maybe a couple of weeks. We've had some challenges, but we're still on par to hopefully still not have any issues with getting the staff moved in late November, maybe first week of December before the kids go home, so staff can be ready for kids in January of 23. This is another project we're currently working on. This is a rendering of the Northern Nash Field House. This is the back side of the field house. I'm not sure how many. This is the practice field when you're walking, looking back toward the practice field. This is the front view of looking out toward the game field. This is a project we're excited about. This is one of the last field houses that we look forward to opening. We're still securing funding on that. But this would be the last field house. The other 3 high schools in the county have new field houses, and this would be the updated version for Northern Nash High School. This here is my 22-23 capital outlay budget. Not sure how you guys can, if you guys can see this, but I'll just kind of go through it a little bit. Baskerville Elementary School, Johnson and Englewood. I showed you pictures of the Winston and Williford flooring systems, the polyurethane. We're looking at going through those 3 campuses this next fiscal year. You'll see that it's a roughly $50,000 number for each school. Now, we do have some abatement to do on those multi-purpose rooms, where some of the other ones we remove carpet, so that escalates that number a little bit. Middle high school upgrades, we're currently working on the 5, 7, 8, 9 admin mechanical, which I'll go over a little bit later. Installing lights and ceilings at Edwards Middle School. We're doing a major renovation on that campus. Rocky Mount High School, we're sanding and refinishing the gym floors in the auxiliary gym as well as the main gymnasium. Southern Nash High School, we do have an ADA lift that needs replacing in the cafeteria. Northern Nash High School, install lights and ceilings in 10 classrooms. This is part of the renovation we're doing with the mechanical, kind of in tandem with renovating that school as well. You'll notice the HVAC projects. I do not have anything in the capital this year. We're using ESSER funds to continue all of the mechanical, and we're doing other upgrades using that capital money for other projects. One of them being the roof repair and replacement at Nash Central High School I just mentioned. We're looking at hopefully replacing the roofs over the shop area and the main lobby. Southern Nash High School, the 400 wing, of course that building is just over 20 years old. That's a single membrane roof that has started causing us some major issues with leaking. And Winston Avenue Elementary, we're looking at breaking that campus into 2 phases and changing it over from a shingle roof to a metal roof. So we're going to be doing that in 2 phases. Hopefully between this year and next year we can get that changed over from shingle to metal. Of course, you'll see in the top right up here, we got paving and gravel. Rocky Mount Middle School, when we moved the TRE Academy over there, we're putting a new parking lot in over there. Southern Nash High School, we're going to start overlaying that parking lot. This year would be The bus parking, and next year we're more than likely will do the student parking lot. And then Red Oak Middle, we added about a 1,500-foot stacking lane, car stacking lane on the back side of that campus, and we will overlay that parking lot this summer as well. And of course, carpet, which is an ongoing situation for us in schools. We normally throw $60,000 to $70,000 a year. We do carpet tile. My staff installs all of that, the VCT as well as the carpet tile. So we move along with campuses as needed on that. We got playground safety. Most of that is either we're replacing equipment or putting sand or covering. It's more of a maintenance issue with all the playgrounds in the district. Safety and security, that's mostly cameras and anything that we have to do as far as maintaining or adding cameras throughout the district. Of course, the 2 vehicles and capitalized equipment, that's the trim mowers for grounds.
Good evening, everyone. Okay, we're going to just, this is our summary of proposed revenues. As you can see, we have a grand total of funds of $127,852,033 that we anticipate for 22-23. And this is just showing you the percentage of funds that we receive. As you can see, the state is our main contributor at 72.2%. Here are our local expenditures by our programs in this comparison to the current year, and showing you the proposed 22-23 year for each department based off of their needs. Oops, I went too far. Well, let's see if it'll go back. Yes, okay. Here we go. The current expense proposed revenue comes from Nash County appropriations and the fines and forfeitures, along with a portion from Edgecombe County, their fines and forfeitures and appropriations. So our grand total appropriations that we are budgeting or proposing to budget for 22-23 is $23,587,614. And then we'll start here.
Sorry. Good evening. So our district, as you know, received COVID relief funding from the federal government that provided us with more flexibility in federal grants than we've been experienced in the past. But nonetheless, there still were limitations to how we could spend those funding. So in our ESSER funds, we received 3 pots. In our CARES funding, which is our ESSER 1, PRC 163, we receive approximately $4.2 million. We use that funding to support social and emotional learning in middle schools, mental health clinical day treatment services, sanitation supplies, summer learning after school, leadership support, and retention bonuses for our existing staff. We also received ESSER 2 funds, which is PRC 171. We receive approximately $16.4 million. Those funds have been used to support technology, student devices, to purchase activity buses, used for HVAC systems, window replacements and doors, school nutrition, and also the Jump Start Academy summer program that was required by the state. The last pot of funding that we receive is ESSER 3, PRC 181. We receive approximately $36 million, and the funding was used for cafeteria upgrades, Kelly Services, which is the vendor we use to provide substitutes, beginning teacher director, sanitation supplies, materials, interactive boards across the district K-12, to purchase additional activity buses, Read 180 facilitators in middle school and high schools, guidance assistants in middle schools and high schools, Anita Coordinator, which is our virtual academy, and several staff members, additional nurses and social workers, retention bonuses, fine art supplies materials, media digital resources, and capital outlay projects. Okay, Shannon.
Okay, I'm going to go over a few of the projects now from the ESSER funding that we had received. My portion was somewhere around $12 million. You'll see here Northern Nash Gymnasium, the Northern Nash 15 classrooms. We're using our capital money, as I just reviewed a few minutes ago with the 15 classrooms. We're using ESSER funding to do the mechanical side, and we're using capital funds to do the LED lighting and the ceiling replacement. We're kind of walking through that campus, renovating it at the same time. Cooper's Elementary Dining Room, we put in the VRF system in the dining room. We're doing that in-house with my team. Hubbard Elementary Cafeteria, we've just completed the Hubbard Elementary 200 and 300 wings with the VRF. We did that with my team as well. The principal was gracious enough to give us a couple classrooms at a time, so we moved kids around, and they now have new heating and air. Nash Central Middle School is the picture you're seeing here. That's a chiller replacement. We have replaced both of those chillers now. So that campus is fully functional again, HVAC-wise. This here is Parker Middle School. This first picture here is the gymnasium. We pulled that, all gyms is actually what we're working on, removing the gyms from the chiller systems and the boiler systems. Most of our gymnasiums are used 5-6 days a week, a lot of functions. So instead of firing a boiler or firing a chiller, most of the time you'll notice our chillers are further away from the gymnasium. So we have to fire pumps, and it takes a lot of utilities to fire a system and push it all the way to the opposite end of the building. So we're pulling a lot of our mechanical system gymnasiums off the main chiller system so that we can schedule those on when most of these buildings are being used. You'll see this picture on the right is also the chiller we just put in 2 weeks ago during spring break at Parker Middle School. Now that campus now is fully functional, again with the gym as well as the chiller. Picture you're seeing here is Red Oak Elementary School. As you know, we pulled the mechanical piece out of that contract. My team is putting the heating and air system in here. You can see we hung all the duct work here. We hung all the sock duct. We're handling all that in-house. We pulled that out of the contract. Nashville Elementary School, we've replaced a boiler chiller. Rocky Mount Middle chiller has been replaced. Edwards Middle School, I think I mentioned with our capital, the 5, 7, 8, 9, and admin is going over to the new VRF system as well, and we're doing the ceilings and the LED lighting with capital funding. Bailey Elementary's chiller replacement is also has been ordered and be replaced this summer. A couple of our window replacement projects you'll see here is Hubbard Elementary School. These are the cow wall windows we put in the multi-purpose room. And if you look on the right side here, you'll see the old window in this picture and the new window in the picture next to it. We're really excited to update it. It really makes these buildings look 50, 60 years newer and a lot more energy efficient. All of this is being done with ESSER's funding. Williford Elementary, actually Hubbard Elementary, as you see pictured, we finished that up last week, so that school is online now as far as new window replacement. The Williford windows are coming in this week. We've scheduled those after EOGs. We'll start replacing all of those windows. Edwards Middle School will be in late June. Spring Hope Elementary Auditorium, replacing those in July, and Cooper's Elementary, the pre-K building, will also be coming in this summer. Also, we were allowed to purchase 14 new activity buses. This is something that I think in years past, commissioners have allotted us some money to purchase some activity buses. We were using that, I think, with debt service. Now we have purchased 14 new activity buses to help alleviate that need.
So I'm going to this time go over some of the funding challenges that we're going to have for next year. So we've put them in 4 categories. One is going to be increase in salary benefits, and I believe Dr. Honeycutt even mentioned that in his. Technology demand, we're a one-to-one district, so we would like to start some sort of a refresh plan that we'll talk about. Declining ADM, we were held harmless during COVID for 2 years. We lost as many as 800 some students, probably last year. We have recovered a majority of those students, but we're going to be short. I believe it's going to be 250 students this year. And teacher retention. So Ms. Whitman, I'm going to get you to come and talk about the benefits.
This is just showing you the anticipated changes for year 2023. As you can see, the salary increases. Our classified employees, they, this is the year we had 2.5 years to get our classified employees up to $15 an hour, or a 2.5% increase. And 2023 is the year that everyone will be making, as far as classified, at least $15 an hour. So that's an anticipated increase in salaries. Our benefits, as you see, the retirement is going to increase 1.3%, and our hospitalization is $378 per employee. If you put that in numbers, we have approximately 2,600 employees. We're looking at $980 to $1,000 increase in just benefits for hospitalization alone.
So now, budget request. So what we've put together is a request starts with increased teacher supplement of 1%, a recruitment bonus that we started this year, also a non-certified local supplement, and a refresh plan. Mr. McQueen, we'll let you talk about the refresh plan.
All right, with our refresh plan, we are a one-to-one district. And that means that every student in our district has access to a device, as well as spares available, which is good. As a one-to-one district, we want to be progressive and, not take a step backwards. So what we've done, we developed a refresh plan, and this is an annual refresh plan. And a few details about it, the reason and the goal that we want this plan is so that we have adequate devices for our students as well as our staff. So the refresh plan consists of our pre-K and first grade devices. They will be refreshed every year. And the reason being is the devices that we purchase for them will be grade specific. So they will be refreshed every 4 years. Our 2nd, 5th, and 9th grade will get new devices every year. And the reason why we chose that is because the warranties for the devices are 4 years. So we map the 2nd, the 5th grade, the 9th grade. So those students will keep those devices over a 4-year period. As well as our staff devices, we have about 19, maybe 1,900 plus staff on our, staff, yeah. And so what we've done, we took a quarter of the 1,900 staff, and we're gonna replace them every year as well, okay? And so you see this cost the cost to maintain this refresh plan is 1.5, but in actuality, it is 1.8 with the inflation, let me say, of the parts and all the computer parts and, you know, all the things that go with that. So the challenge is maintaining this refresh plan after the ESSER funds are up. So I just want to put that out there. Next.
Ms. Wallace?
So, recruitment bonuses. As you know, our profession is at a crossroads for several reasons. One, due to the shrinkage of adults pursuing education, competition among districts vying for highly qualified staff. And we have several members that are retiring and exiting the profession just for various reasons. With that being said, the district would like to continue with the recruitment bonus in efforts to recruit and retain highly qualified staff. Bonuses will be provided for the following areas: hard to fill positions, numerous vacancies. We've also given additional percent for any new candidates that are vying to go to a low performing school, and that would be the lowest 5% tiered based on the state's guidance. Mr. Outlaw, I think at our last meeting you recommended that we consider rewarding staff that are currently in our district. And we would like to include a percentage of this for retention bonuses purposes for all part-time and full-time positions, and they must remain in the district for the entire 22-23 school year. So we're requesting $500,000 for that.
So the next would be local supplement. And I know we discussed this at our October, I believe it was November meeting. And as you can see right now, we talked about being competitive. We are currently at 11 to 12.5%. You can see other districts ahead. We had talked about a 2% supplement at the last meeting, but the state came in, I believe it was House Bill 71, they call it a teacher compensation fund, which gives us that extra 1%. That'll be a recurring fund. So we will have that 2% if you fund us, then the extra 1. When it comes to non-certified, bus drivers, monitors, child nutrition, clerical maintenance, teacher assistants in transportation, we've given various raises for the past 2 years. We'd like to increase stipends now, in supplements right now. You can tell a 1% would be about $220,000, 1.5, 330. And during COVID, you definitely, these employees need to be rewarded because they've been very important to us. Same as with our recruitment bonus, trying to give them some sort of a retention and a recruitment bonus to continue their services. So if you look at the local current expense, proposed revenue, we are asking for an extra $2.5 million. You can see Nash County's appropriation in Edgecombe from $23 million to $26. And now, any questions?
Dr. Ellis, before we start that, is Ms. Whitman, so you referred to that benefits, fringe benefits slide. I think it was close to $900,000. Is that a part of your ask request for this group? And your request, Dr. Ellis?
Well, when it comes to local, it's kind of, yes, it's all in one lump sum.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioners, questions of Mr. Belfield?
Last fall, I asked a question about maintenance of your schools in the city of Rocky Mount, and especially those on the Edgecombe County side, which is a part of the district. I didn't hear anything in your presentation about maintenance there, but I did tonight. Have you really, I've been getting a lot of negative comments about Parker Elementary School as it relates to maintenance. And you mentioned some, I believe you said the gym and the air condition. What about other parts of it, like the walls? Could you make a comment on that?
You mentioned the walls. I mean, that is general maintenance. I mean, we do have maintenance money. What I went through tonight was basically the capital outlay, the mechanical side, the chiller, the chiller in the main campus, as well as the gymnasium we pulled off. But we go through all schools as far as painting. If you're mentioning the walls, they're on a schedule. They're painted every eight years. If that's what you're referring to.
At the walls, but they were just mentioning the content of the walls.
I guess I'm not exactly sure. I mean, the buildings are maintained. If there are maintenance issues, then they're handled. I mean, there's no roof issues. The roof was replaced probably 17, 18 years ago with a metal roof. The mechanical has just been upgraded. All of the mechanical on all the Edgecombe schools have been updated within the last 10 years. We do have routine maintenance schedules that we go through from the southern end of the county to the northern end of the county that we do on regularly scheduled periods.
Well, I just want to know so I can dispel some of this mess that's circulating.
I understand.
If it's untrue, I want to hit it.
Sure.
If it's true, then we'll talk about that. I'm not sure it's true.
I look at the Nash County Public School System as a complete district and not segments of a county.
I'm glad to hear that.
Thanks.
Because
if I may comment on that too, we had our recent meeting with the Edgecombe County Commissioners, and we intentionally had our facility meeting at one of our facilities on Edgecombe County, because what we don't want to hear is rumors. You know, we want to show you what we got and what our schools look like. We're not ashamed of any of our schools. And we communicate that information to the Edgecombe County Commission as well. Gave them, and we would gladly give you the same opportunity. Any school that you want to see in our district, as we stated earlier, it doesn't matter whether it's on the southern end or down in the city. You're open to see that. That way you can dispel those rumors without, on your own, you will see firsthand.
Right, we invited a few of the commissioners, yeah.
Dispelling misinformation.
Right, we've invited a few of the commissioners that requested to just visit any of those schools.
This is not coming from, to me, it's not coming from commissioners. This is citizens that have started spreading. At this point, I see it as misinformation, but I just want had the facts so I think I can dispel it.
And if I'm right, I believe, Mr. Davis, we talked about how much we spend more than what we receive from Edgecombe County and Capital. So we dispelled that rumor, I think at the last meeting where we talked about we've overspent compared to what we're being given. Yes, sir.
Just a thought to what Mr. Belfield just said. Maybe, Mr. Belfield, you could refer those people to the school system, and they could actually go into the schools themselves, and that would dispel it firsthand.
That's gonna be part of my suggestion to them.
That's what I'd recommend they do, because they probably haven't been in the schools.
Other questions from commission?
I have a comment. I want to know how you arrived at the 1.3% for the certified teachers. You're saying all the teachers that are in the public schools, you're saying 1.3% increase in their salary?
1% supplement increase.
Supplement.
Supplement.
That's not their regular salary.
The benefits, oh, Ms. Whitman, can you speak to that? Are you talking about the raises?
The raises.
The 1.3%.
I think that, yeah.
That's the standard. The state tells us what the raises are, but it comes from the state.
Okay.
Now, supplement, of course, is local.
And the supplement is what?
The supplement comes from local funds, from what you guys
Gwen, I'm not sure you were on the board at our last meeting. I don't remember what month you came on, but we made a tentative offer to the school system that we would like to see all classroom teachers get a 2% supplement increase. Okay. And we offered to do it like we had done it in years past, which was the school system provide half of it, and commissioners would provide half of it. And what Dr. Ellis said tonight was that he had his half that he could supply, and therefore they were asking us to fulfill our tentative nod that we would match that, and that's something I'm sure our budget team will be bringing to us.
Okay, just that 1.3% was giving me heartburn.
Well, I think you referred to what the state has dictated, which they really don't control.
Okay, got it. That's what I needed
They
to
gave
know.
a 2-year, in the budget, they gave increases over a 2-year period.
Okay.
And so that dollar amount is $15.45,
Right, and it's an average. So you have some that have been working 10 years, some 15, 20, it's an average. It comes up to 1.3.
Other questions from commission?
If you add that 2% supplement increase based on everything else staying even, that should put the system in the top 10 in the state out of 115 units.
So we'll be near there, correct?
I think you're 13 right now.
We'll be probably tied with a few, but you're right.
That's pretty impressive for our system.
It is.
Well, I just want to say that has not come without a cost. We have, Dr. Ellis and his group have made tremendous strides to make the system leaner, make the system more efficient. There has been times that we have cut items or just to try to meet those ends, make sure we get them. And that's one of the reasons we are coming. He's making that presentation to this county, this commissioners, to help us offset some of that cost.
Other commissioners that hadn't spoke yet? Ms. Belfield, do you have another question, sir?
Oh, yes. Getting back with teacher supplement, do you get appropriation from the state? I didn't notice it up there. I might have missed it. For supplement.
No, sir.
Is that
Only
totally depending on the counties?
Totally local, but under the House Bill 71, we are getting a percentage to be used. We can use it as a supplement. Other districts can use it other ways.
So
we're going to use it as a supplement for teachers.
So is the local boards of education, the boards' decision to do what they want with those funds that they get?
To a degree, yes.
Because I look at the school systems in North Carolina and see the supplements are so different, vary so much. And those with high supplements, that's where they're going to be able to attract teachers there. And low-performing schools in some of your smaller counties, you're left with what's left.
But you're correct. But House Bill 71 is to help with that supplement for those districts that don't have a high supplement. There are some that are getting $4,000. We're not, because we're in that top range.
Okay, my next question is security. I mean, it seems to be that even children bringing guns to school and shooting, killing fellow students across the country. Are you satisfied with your security in your schools in Nash County?
I'll let Dr. Farrow and Mr. Davis talk about our upgrades and security that we've done in the past years, security systems. And if you want to just do it right there, Mr. Farrow, you had to come all.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, evening. Thank you.
I didn't mean to correct you. I just.
Oh no, you're fine.
Your remarks, sir.
One of the things that we have worked really hard to try to do in Nash County Public Schools is try to make sure that from a physical standpoint that we have a camera system, kind of that hard security. So when you're dealing with children and children move in and out of spaces and places, having that camera system where we can go back and see what actually happened, or we can see people coming on campus, people leaving campus, those things helps us in security. But one of the things that we are most proud of is what we have done in working with building relationships with students, where we have really increased our support for mental health. As many of you know, mental health is a crisis that is happening within schools. It's happening everywhere, and it's happening here. We have been able to use funding to have school-based mental health support in every school in our district. Ms. Grant is here. She's part of that process and making sure that our students who need the help has that help. Mr. Davis, Mr. McQueen from the technology standpoint, Mr. Davis from the maintenance piece, we all work together to try to make sure that our buildings are secure, that people can't just walk up and enter our buildings. They have to be buzzed in. Is there anything else you want to address, Mr. Davis, from a maintenance perspective?
The only thing I would add is I know several years ago we received a grant from the state, and we have expanded our camera systems from middle and high to the elementaries. The exterior of the campus, we have started moving them to the interior of the elementary schools. We've upgraded all of the middle and high school cameras to where we can look at them from iPads, from laptops. They're all remote. And the access control. I mean, there is no magic bullet as far as keeping kids safe in schools, but we do have layers that we have added to our district that have helped us where the districts may not have been able to do so.
Ms. Grant, from a mental health, social, emotional perspective?
Sure. We have actually been able to access a lot of the ESSER funding, as Ms. Wallace stated. We've also gotten several grants from the state, from the Center of Safer Schools, and from Project Aware, which is a grant that's federally funded with a flow through from the state. Well, we have been able to tier supports for meeting all of the social emotional needs, starting at tier 1 for all children, putting some supports in place, and then looking at our students who need a little bit more than what they can get, than everybody's getting, and then expanded. We are very blessed to be able to have in-house mental health counselors and access to services at all of our schools. Some of those services also provide on-site medication management, so that parents don't have to take off of work and take their children from school and bring them back. So it's been we're trying to make it really relatively easy for our staff and our students to access those services, and our parents. So we've been blessed to do that. I think there was something else. Oh, we did do the grant for the cameras for the Center for Safer Schools, and we've also this year been able to do our exterior buildings, so we're able to now have the cameras in our field houses. I think that was the other expansion that we've done, and we should be done with our camera system after that.
Pretty soon, yeah.
And the reason why I wanted her to address the social emotional, the mental health part of it is because when you look at research and what research says about school security, is that schools who invest in building relationships with students are the schools that are the most successful in having a safe environment for students, and are less likely to see things happen, such as school shootings. Mr. McQueen, is there anything you want to add from the technology side of it?
Well, outside of the technology, I was going to mention the safety team that we have, partnership with the local police So you want to talk about that?
Yes, we have a district safety team, and with that district safety team, we involve our school SROs, we involve emergency management, we have principals, we have district level people on that team, and the purpose of having that team is so that if something was to happen in our school, there's a team of individuals who can come together and put in place our reunification plan. God forbid that it ever has to happen, but we have a team in place who know what their roles and responsibilities are in case such an event should happen.
I think, Mr. Bellfield's question derived from a very brief conversation we had at our board meeting yesterday. And it was along the line of, we realized you got SROs in high schools and in middle schools as well. About right before COVID, I think at one of these joint meetings, we had some discussion about SROs in elementary schools. It didn't go very deep, but that question arose again yesterday in our conversation about it. And to us, it appeared like the school system, and I'll put this kind of in a form of a question, had decided on the elementary schools that they could get more for the money spent and probably better security by utilizing the camera systems, Mr. Davis, to do that with one SRO in a very large school. If you happen to be at the right position at the right time, could be of some assistance. But apparently, it appears like to me, I won't speak for the whole board, that you have chosen a different direction for elementary schools to provide the security that the school board feels is necessary. Could you comment on what we're thinking we're doing, or where are we with that thought?
From my standpoint, I mean, to me, if you're asking, it's more of a funding situation. An SRO, of course, is a recurring expense, whereas a camera system is a one-time capital expenditure. We can look outside the buildings. We've got these camera systems set up where it's in the principal's office. SROs at the middle and highs can pull them up on their cell phones. So it does help, but I think it's more of a true funding issue and a reoccurrence where the capital with the cameras is a one-time expenditure that we can look at the campus from a snapshot and look. I mean, some of these campuses have 30, 40, 50 cameras, and we can look just about all around that building, interior and exterior, especially at the middle and high. Elementary, not there yet. Exterior, we are working on interior at the elementaries.
And I will say that particular comment came up when we were discussing our upcoming meeting with our legislators that we have each year prior to them going back in session. And we were trying to formulate a list of the things we wish to talk to them about. And the question was, should we have on the list to ask for additional funding for SROs so we can move it potentially into the elementaries, but we didn't feel comfortable putting that on our list until we heard from y'all that that indeed was a need. I guess you would say that's where the conversation came from.
I think it would be great if we could have funding for SROs at the elementary school. Mr. Davis brings out a very valid point when you're looking at continuous funding over a period of time. It's cheaper to get the security cameras than when you're having to pay $80,000 for an SRO salary, and that's not including benefits. So we're looking at 16 elementary schools and putting an SRO in each school. That could be quite expensive.
I think if also, Mr. Bedfield, when we had that discussion, we had made a request that if you could help fund those SROs. And I think we look, as Shannon just referred to, the cost of funding the SROs was more than the camera system. Ms. Bullock and then Mr. Lamb.
They had his hand up.
Okay, Ms. Lamb.
One thing about safety elementary, a lot of our elementary schools are in small towns. I know when I was principal of Middlesex and also Spring Hope, the town police chief, a lot of times, or at least a police officer, spent a lot of time in the elementary school, if not doing anything but walking around. So that helps as far as not being able to fund the SRO office at the elementary, whereas our middle and high schools are all out in the country, you might say. It takes longer to get response.
So that goes back to the partnership that Dr. Farrell was talking about with our community. Ms. Bullock?
I would just,
Mr. Belford, I think Ms. Bullock had the floor. Wait just a moment, sir. I'm sorry.
thank you, sir. I would just add to the conversation that we are at the committee level looking into what else we can do to make our schools more safe. We have been talking about that now for a couple of our meetings, and we are doing a study trying to see what we can do additionally to make our schools safer for our students and our staff.
I think Mr. Outlaw asked me first, and Mr. Belford, I'll get to you next.
I just
sir.
want to say, I think having a presence in a school of a law enforcement officer, a vehicle sitting out front, is a good thing, and we're getting ready to meet with our local legislation team. And I just think we need to start that discussion, because cameras are great, but after the fact, they do nothing to handle the situation at hand. So if you have one child that is seriously injured or killed in an elementary school, then I'm comfortable we're going to figure out a way to put additional safety measures in that school. And SROs seem to me like a reasonable way to do that. I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but I'm saying we're willing to start that discussion and lobby for that through our NCACC, even whatever we can do to make it happen, because I think it's needed.
Mr. Outlaw, may I say? Mr. Outlaw, please don't take it that we are not seeking help for SRO officers. We would love, I would, and I think my board would as well, love to have that conversation. And we need all the help that we can get to do that.
You've got a lobby, we've got a lobby, and I just think we
And
need to
we're
start
willing
that
to
discussion.
do that. Yes, sir.
So you're good with us starting that discussion?
I am, and I think my board is.
You can't ever get enough.
Exactly.
And we would encourage you to start that with your lobby.
Our
Yes, sir.
meeting is scheduled for the 11th of this month. If you have any more input you can give us between now and then, we'll certainly put it on our list of items, and I think we've got enough tonight to go ahead and put it on our list anyway. But if there's anything else you can tell us to help our cause, then that's
We would just have to have some conversation with other districts because, you know, I agree that SROs, I was a former principal, I know the presence of a police officer, but when you start putting them in elementary schools, it causes other issues that you just got to consider. So I do agree with Mr.
That's why we come to you prior to us moving forward, so.
I agree with Dr. Farrell. Most any weapon we find on the campus isn't found by SRO. It's a teacher because
Well,
of
I think our
relationship.
board is very pleased with the relationship that we've established with your board, and we want to do what we can do to continue to expand on that relationship.
And we can find out how that looks in an elementary school.
Okay.
That'll work.
Well,
Thank you
we
for your
will
comments.
hear from you, I hope, before the 11th then. Mr. Belfield, you have asked for the floor, sir.
I brought that up. Yeah, we had discussed it, but I brought it up for one big reason. I was talking with a teacher who works here in Eastern North Carolina, that in her school last week, a parent came into the school and assaulted a teacher about their child. And the stuff that the child had carried home was not true. So we need to be careful how people come into the school system. I know you don't want to bar parents from coming, but they need to come in the right way.
I agree.
Through the principal's office.
I agree.
Other commissioners have questions? I made a couple of.
I don't have
Go ahead,
I don't
Mr.
have a
Barrett.
question. I just want to commend Dr. Ellis and your staff for your presentation. I think you've done a good presentation, show us where you're at and where you're trying to go in your issues, and I appreciate the candor from the board, and I know y'all doing some hard work, so we'll do the best we can to support you.
Just a couple of questions I jotted down in that very quick-moving presentation that you made. First comment to Mr. Davis, I counted about 19 times during your presentation. You told about the work that your staff did. I continue to be amazed in your, I mean, I know you bound to have some organization in which you see other maintenance directors in other school systems. Are the other systems that do in-house what we are able to do here under your leadership?
They don't come close. That's why I invited the Edgecombe commissioner to come see our schools, because I don't think you can find any better group than Shannon Davis and his team of what they do in these buildings, to maximizing the money that he gets every year and what he's doing on these slides. It's just amazing.
Well, it just looks that way, and I don't know if I'm trying to make it look better in my mind because we're Nash County, but I think on behalf of our board, we greatly appreciate the work that you do, Mr. Davis, and how many times you use my staff, because I know when you don't.
Only as good as the people who are behind.
I realize that. You're bound to have great workers, but you're doing something in this period of time to keep those great workers. Either y'all got a team that's all bought into it, which I think's got to be part of it. I don't know, but I'm just fascinated by what you get done with your own people in-house. It takes away from my business, but it also saves the county money when you do that. It's greatly appreciated. And the level of work in which you carry it. These heating and air conditioning systems, I don't know of any other school system that I've ever worked in, which is many, that have a staff that does what y'all do, particularly in heating and cooling. My other little bit of concern, Dr. Ellison, moving through your presentation, particularly on your ESSER funds, it appeared like the majority of the expenditures you used there was on one-time expenditures. I did see a couple of items where, for instance, you used part of the money to add additional staff of nurses and social workers. When that money is gone, do you have a plan by which we will keep those employees, or what is where are we at with that, or are we going to be expecting at some point to have to come up with funds to cover those?
So we do have a plan. I'll let Ms. Wallace come up here and explain some of the.
So even though you see these employees listed here, it's not like it's a large number of employees. We still receive federal funding that will support these additional support personnel that we have. So our plan is to use state and federal funding to sustain what we currently have in ESSER funding.
Okay. Good answer. I appreciate that. The other thing, Mr. Davis, I did very carefully, and I realized I have a skill level that can do this, but as you went through all those slides of what you had going on, I very much took notice of Mr. Belfield's question, because I also hear that many times from people that I run into about the disparity between how the school system treats their facilities in Nash County versus the ones that Nash County school systems have located in Edgecombe County. But when you look at your presentation, it's just no evidence of that whatsoever. I mean, I see you replacing huge chillers at Parker Middle School, windows here, carpet there, and of course, I myself, if you recall, two years ago, I think, took your budget and went through to see if indeed we were spending less on a per student and also a per square footage basis. I didn't find it to be true then. So where do these rooms come from that we keep hearing over and over? And I know you probably can't answer that, but I'm like Mr. Belfield. I wish we could do something to put it to bed, because we got a lot of people that sincerely believe that, but it's just no facts there.
I agree. I mean, I spend the money where the money needs to be spent. It's all basically needs-based. I do realize that, you know, we've got a southern end of the county, a northern end of the county. We've got the center of Rocky Mountain, Edgecombe, and I make sure that I spread the money where it's needed. and make sure that I share the wealth with the entire county. But it's all really, when you boil it down, it's all needs based. I try not to go replace anything that doesn't need to be replaced just for the sake of spending money. I try to do it where it's needed. Where Edgecombe County, you know, when D.S. Johnson several years ago, when I spent $500,000, the boiler and chiller it needed totally renovated, and that's what we did. We dumped $500,000 in there and totally renovated the campus and did LED lighting, and so it's all needs based. Now, granted, I do know that I have to spread the wealth throughout the district, and every part of the district has needs. We've got schools, you know, throughout the district that have needs now, and I have to take that $1.5 million of capital funding and spread it around to make sure that I'm taking care of the needs that need to be addressed. So that's basically how I encapsulate my budget.
Will you ever get to the point that community college appears to be in where you have no capital needs? The answer is no, sir. Oh, yeah, one campus versus 27. Good answer, frankly. I smiled at you, and I think you noticed me smiling when you talked about the windows at Williford School you were currently replacing. Many of you know I went to school there from 1958 to 1966, and those windows I saw were the same windows that were in the classroom that I was in, so I think they are well needed to be replaced, quite frankly.
We're hoping the Alumni Association will be a part of it.
I was never asked, sir. I don't know if there is an Alumni Association. A good comment, though. My last thought was I saw some difference in your employee insurance. One slide showed $200 per employee, one slide showed $378. I think the 378 is closer to what I ran in my head on what ours was, percentage-wise. So I wonder what that is, but you know that you might want to take a look at what that difference is. But I think we would be closer to the on a percentage basis, $378. But you had one 200, you had one 378.
What was the 200?
It was in one of your earlier.
I see the 378.
Right.
But
it was.
Ms. Whitfield.
For hospitalization, it's $378
right.
per employee increase.
So was there 200?
From the Nash Community College had different numbers. We paid $7,000.
You know what? I confused myself. The 200 came from that community.
That's
college.
right.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
You're exactly right. I'm making too many notes on this little piece of paper.
I'd like to.
Absolutely.
Since we're talking about things that might be rumors, this morning I heard, I don't know if it's fact or fiction, so maybe y'all can set me straight. Somebody come to me and said, have you heard that they're gonna close Bailey School? They're gonna move all the students to Middlesex. They're gonna build a new school at Bailey and then put those students back. Is that fact or fiction?
That's fiction.
It didn't make sense. It did not make sense to me. I said they can't take all the students from Bailey and put them in Middlesex because they don't have room left to do that. But that was a rumor again that maybe floats around. But that's one I heard this morning.
Let me I could probably help with that, or Dr. Ellis can. There has been conversation regarding Spanish or English, the immersion group.
Spanish immersion classes at Bailey.
So we are moving kids from, you can talk, and that's probably where that rumor came
We're
from.
moving about 60, 70 students to the Bailey Spanish immersion program is going to be moved to Middlesex next year.
So that's
where you get that rumor.
That's probably it.
That might be where it's coming. They were going to close the school when it got to me this morning.
And build a new one.
Build a new one and then move them back.
If you want to build them a new building, we'll take the money.
Do what?
If you want to build them a new building, we'll take the money.
I don't know where it come from.
Does that conclude your presentation? I don't hear any more questions from our commissioners.
So we just appreciate your support. Thank you for the teacher appreciation. And thank you again.
Item 10 is just open discussion and any other thoughts or concerns from either board. So I will start that off by just saying how much appreciation I want to give to the school board on behalf of the commissioners at the tone of these meetings that we have now versus sometimes in the past. You know, 4, 5, 6 years ago, we were not where we are today, where we could sit in a room, very civilized, and discuss the easy issues as well as the hard issues. I think it has taken a lot of work on the members of our board as well as the members of y'all's board. We have some changes, as we know, on both sides. I don't know what made the change, but whatever it is, I certainly hope it continues indefinitely, whoever the board members are, because it's just so much easier if we go with things together to accomplish things, and without the hard feelings or coming into the meetings with any kind of leftover anger. What we try to do with our board, we don't always agree, but we try to leave our disagreements in one meeting and try not to bring it back to the next meeting. And I think these two groups have done an excellent job of that over the last several years. And I just want to say I appreciate that. But what else do board members have, commissioners or school board members, they'd like to discuss, or any comments you'd like to say?
I'd just like to say thank you for what y'all do for us, for our teachers and our students. It's something the entire county should be proud of. Like you said, Chairman Davis, you know, our working relationship is a lot better now, and the students are going to reap those rewards.
Anyone else from the board side? If not, I just got one, maybe two items that I would like to discuss with Mr. Davis at some point in time, just to get clarity. I'm constantly learning, being trained to get as much knowledge as I can as far as what we can receive. And one of the questions or disparity that I'm going to be communicating with, and that's fines and forfeitures. I've heard rumors talking through those fines and forfeitures. I had a conversation with our sheriff regarding those fines and forfeitures. I had conversations regarding the district attorney regarding those fines and forfeitures. So what I'm looking at doing, so I'll better understand that process from the county's commissioner side, I would like to have an opportunity to set up the chance that you and I have that dialogue.
I'm not sure I'd be the right person to have it with, but I would be glad to meet with you. Fines and forfeitures come in two pots of money. They come either as state fines or forfeitures or federal. I think you may be concerned with the fact that our administration in our current sheriff's department, and I'm going to be very careful how I'll say this, we have a task force from the feds working the Rocky Mount, Nash, Edgecombe area, and it is here because of needs, crime, and the type crimes that we have. And therefore, we have a lot of charges that go federal because the task force of federal agents are involved in that. And it is up kind of to the sheriff himself what resources he uses to fight crime, and he has chosen to use federal agents. And I don't disagree at all with that decision because of the tremendous, you know, we all keep reading that crime is getting better, but if you read the front page of the newspaper in newspapers in Nash, City of Rocky Mount, at Edgecombe County, it's hard to believe it's really getting better. There are serious crimes. We've had 2 murders already this week, and certainly I'm not here to dwell on that, but the issue I think Mr. Sharp that you're referring to is the fact that utilizing the type resources that he used, a lot of them end up in the federal prosecution area. And in the federal prosecution area, the fines and forfeitures do not come back to the school system like they do the state. A part of it stays with the feds, a part of it returns directly to Nash County, which is administered through our finance department. And this board pretty much has taken the position And if any board member disagrees with me, because we hadn't discussed this, I really wasn't expecting this question, quite frankly. But we have kind of taken position within reason, we allow the sheriff to use what fines and forfeitures that are returned to him from the federal level for his department. And I do think he's done an excellent job of what he spends those funds on. We might could intercede with that and make it go a different way, but I'm not sure we can legally. And I certainly don't think we want to, because it's just a battle that we've chosen not to have, not that it would be a battle. And certainly we can't control whether a crime goes federal or whether it stays in the state system. And that dictates where the money goes to.
And that's exactly the point that I was referring to as far as I want to learn more about that process, because in our local budgets, we have revenue set aside for fines and forfeitures. So we set that out. And that's not a small amount of revenue. And fines and forfeitures, based upon what I'm seeing, hearing, and reading, is based upon, and you just explained some things to me, based on the amount of crimes or monies that's captured by the police or the sheriff's department from the fines and forfeiture side and what should be going towards the school. So I will have that conversation a little bit more, because I want to dive deeper into our fines and forfeiture, because that's revenue that the school could be utilizing to help grow with our kids' system.
And what you would need to accomplish to get additional revenues is to have those cases stay in the state prosecution area and not go to the federal prosecution area. And of course, some crimes are going to go federal, and we really don't have any control on it. And I don't know how much control we have either way. Right. But I do know there is a task force here that gets involved in a lot of things that we do at the sheriff's department. Mr. Jenkins, you may know more about that than I do, having a father that's former sheriff. But is any other board member would like to add any other comment to what I said on that?
It seems to me that's a discussion that the chairman needs to have with the sheriff.
I plan on having that with the sheriff and with Mr. Davis as well.
I'll be glad to set that meeting up, if you, just get with me, and we'll certainly set it up and have some discussions about it.
Okay.
Don't mind doing that at all.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to comment on that particular item? Okay. Go ahead, sir. Did you have something else?
No, I'm done. Thank you. I just want to say again, thank you guys and ladies for hosting us. This has been for showing concerns for our school systems. Mr. Vedfield, from the safety side, safety is always our #1 priority. Safety first. So thank you for those questions. We appreciate all your input as far as being willing to work, collaborate with us when it comes from not only the safety side, but making sure that we have enough resources to give the folks who I think the most critical people are part of this equation is our teachers. So I appreciate the resolutions. If our board has nothing else to say or no other comments, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn. Second.
It's been properly moved by Ms. Bullock, second by Ms. Chavis. Any questions or discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor should sign of aye, please.
Aye.
Any opposition? With that said, yes.
Okay. Ms. Sattler, do we have any action items that we need to take care of that has come up?
We do not.
Any staff member, anything we're overlooking that we need to take care of tonight that won't wait till the 23rd?
Are we recessing to the 11th? We're recessing to the 11th. Sorry.
Okay. All right. If that, any other comment, commissioners? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to recess until May the 11th at 6 p.m. at Ribeyes in Nashville, which is our legislative dinner. Have a motion there, second?
Second.
Have several seconds. Madam Clerk, if you can sort them out for me, I'd appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
I think it's the two I get confused with sometimes, quite frankly. That'll give you a hint. Have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed by a like sign. We stand recessed until 11.